Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Preseason game number 1 is in the books for your Miami Dolphins, and it feels like a lot of preseason games do. It feels like that first half flies by pretty quick. We had long drives, things were moving and shaking, and then we get to the second half, and it is a slow crawl to get to the end. But we had a lot of things to dive into, a lot of things to chew on here as we got 3 quarterbacks. We're all interested in what they're going to do, especially the backup battle between the Miami Dolphins, between Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers. Some good, some bad. I think there was a lot of give and take on both sides for these guys. We'll start off, though, with probably the most surprising thing of the day, which was that Tua Tagovailoa decided to suit up for this game. Some in the Bears media, I guess, were saying he was really pushing Mike McDaniel to get out there and play. I guess the one thing you could say with this is, like, look, Tua hasn't really been hit since his season ended abruptly last year, so maybe there was an element. I'm not doing this listening to the media, so I'm just hopping on here. I'm sure some of you guys may get the answers to this, but I'm assuming that maybe he just wanted to get the feeling of live bullets flying for himself, give themselves a line. I mean, some of the people who are here, talking about this vaunted Bears joint practice where the Dolphins took some lickings, maybe some dirty hits. I know all the Bears media was making fun of the Dolphins for this. And Dolphins, for whatever, I legitimately had people on the pregame to show today who were like, you got to get some lickings back on the Bears. I'm like, you do? For what? They're the Bears. And this is August. I didn't really understand that. It didn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. I don't make the decisions. Mike McDaniel does, and Tua Tagovailoa did go out there today. There was no Tyreek Hill. There was no Jalen Waddle. So that was going to be what we saw. I will say from this standpoint, man, the Dolphins' defense, especially that front seven, I thought we got a pretty nice look at that today. I think like everybody – I don't know if you came out of this thing with many surprises about this Dolphins team, because I think a lot of the concerns that you have are legitimate. I think a lot of the things that you are expected to be good, I think showed themselves to be pretty damn good. So I think a lot of that stuff was very, very encouraging. And on the front end of that defense, man, I mean, they really, really looked great today. I mean, the Bears were not doing a whole hell of a lot against them. Zach Sealer, just looks like, he comes in there, sealer it on up, new contract and all, goes in for a drive, does Zach Sealer things, and just absolutely demolishes the Bears, puts on his ball cap, not a cowboy hat. He should put a cowboy hat on the sideline. That should be his new thing for the times that he's off. And then it's just like a sheriff going to work. He should do that, but that's not the case right now. He's not doing that. So we get to this first drive. The Dolphins are basically putting their starting line in there. Tua Tagovailoa under center. No Tyreek Hill, no Jalen Waddle. A lot of Malik Washington, dude. Malik Washington, who everybody has said is, vying for that number 3 spot. Tua liked going to him a couple of times. He needed to go to Malik Washington. A couple sideline passes on 4th down. The Dolphins needed a couple of conversions late, and he went to him twice on this drive where the Dolphins needed that conversion, once on 4th, once on 3rd down. And he, sure-handed as he has been, did a little reverse flip play to him. He did get the ball batted out of him. Luckily, it went out of bounds, so the Dolphins get to continue the drive. And then the depressing part of the drive, which was the Dolphins were basically on the doorstep of the Bears, and they just couldn't stick it in the end zone. And I think everybody comes away with that with the same concern, like same old Dolphins. Like that was a little depressing. It was a little depressing. Even for an August game, you're going to put the starting offense out there, or for the most part, most of it, and you're knocking on the door. You have this 15-play, 10-plus minute drive, and nothing to show for it. So that was rough. And then they go 3 and out on the Bears. The defense just holds serve, does a great job. Then we get the first of what's just a day. I think probably sneakily one of the more exciting things of today's game was that the Dolphins special teams was kind of on fire on the return game. Like, D. Eskridge, Eric Ezukama, AJ Henning, all these guys just like lit up. I don't know if maybe the Bears special team stinks, but the Dolphins have themselves a new special teams coordinator, and it was on fire today for this team. It really, really was. So that is one of these like under the radar things that was like pretty sneakily good. So Zach Wilson then comes into QB. He's wearing number 0. Don't know how I love that. I don't dig it too much. He starts off the game, bad throw to Julian Hill, but Julian Hill also, just has lobster claws for hands, so I don't really know who to blame there, but I'm just going to blame both of them and just put it up to, just real incompetence on both of them. Zach Wilson then probably has one of his nicest throws of the game. He finds Nick Westbrook-Akine for about 36 yards. That looked really, really impressive. And then he finds Taj Washington. Taj Washington really flourished in this game today, and I'm really, really excited to see what he can do. It was interesting. I had like Big Ten Media Day come and slap me in the face today of just all these guys, because Ruben Hippolyte of the Chicago Bears, he had a couple of nice plays. He's a South Florida guy, played for Maryland, and had some nice stops along the way for the Chicago Bears. I remember I got to sit down with him. This is why I didn't love Big Ten Media Day, because I was like, who? I'm interviewing the linebacker for Maryland? Sure. But he was a South Florida kid, and he's, protege a little bit of Ray Lewis for his time there in Michigan, or Maryland, excuse me. And really, really good dude. I mean, there were some really good South Florida stories in this. In this entire game, you had a touchdown pass to Maurice Alexander, hard time from FIU, paws up. So there was some good representation. But Taj Washington, my Big Ten thing there was spoke to Lincoln Riley, and he was like, it wasn't just like regular coach speak on Taj Washington, because it wasn't just like he likes Taj Washington the prospect. He loves Taj Washington the person. He said he was one of his favorite players of all time. So when his season ended, I was really, really disappointed, because I was like, oh man, this was the guy, the late round pick that everybody loves is Taj Washington, and we didn't get the chance to see him. Well, he got to ball out a little bit today and looked absolutely, absolutely awesome in this game. So that's pretty exciting. Number 7 on the Miami Dolphins, looking good. Dolphins once again bring it down to the doorstep, because the Bears get a pass interference. Alexander Madison is then in the backfield, and he had a really, really nice day. I mean, he had up until the point where he got looked like his head dinged. I was like, man, was that head? Was that sternum? Head, neck area. It was unfortunate, because Alexander Madison played really, really good. People have been saying that he's looking pretty spunky this entire camp, and none of that was not true in this game. He was able to run it in for the touchdown to give Miami the early lead in this game, 7-0. And that came after one of Zach Wilson's, bad throws when he had to Tanner Connor. Zach Wilson is, you can see all of the things that make him intoxicating as a player, and then you can see the things that you're just like, ooh. Because like he would, rip off a good throw, and then he'd do a spin move right into a sack, and you'd just be like, all right, well, you can see kind of the shortcomings there of what's going on. So that was noticeable. The Bears would answer back with a touchdown drive. I mentioned it was to Maurice Alexander, but I will say, some guys really looked impressive on this drive along the way for the Dolphins, because Kenneth Grant. Man, he is strong, dude. This dude, he is a moose. Just a pure moose wreaking havoc. And so I thought that was exciting. Zeke Biggers at one point blew up this poor little running back, and it led to a storm duck, nice stop. But Biggers ran over this running back. It was you could probably hear the high-pitched scream from the guy if he was mic'd up. It was something, dude. It was really, really something to see that go down. So Bears tied it up 7-7. Dolphins will get the ball back. Zach Wilson, he took a sack on that one to start the drive. And then he was dealing with some more pressure. And so on a 3rd and 14, probably one of his more important throws of the day, he connects with Taj Washington for a 36-yard play, gets the Dolphins back going. Jalen Wright, he starts getting going pretty strong. Eric Ezukama had a nice catch over the middle, and then Jalen Wright would make up for the first drive, and he'd find a nice hole cleared out by Jonas Savai-Naya, so a nice show for the rookie there, and the Dolphins would go up 14-0. Dolphins defense would answer back the next drive. Ethan Bonner, intangibles. He'd have the nice tip off. Patrick McMorris, the rookie who got cooked a little bit on the touchdown drive before, he'd make up for that, and he would find himself in the turnover margin for the Miami Dolphins. So that was an exciting thing. The Dolphins then would come back. Bad drive by Zach Wilson. He nearly threw a pick six. It was dropped. Keon Smith got beat bad, but then there was one where he moved into a sack that was pretty. I mean, like it was very noticeable. You're just like, man, this guy can do some really exciting things, but there's a lot of work to still be done with old number 0 for the Miami Dolphins. The Bears would finish off. They got a miracle set. There was some chicanery going on. It was almost like an old Chicago Mafia had hold of the referees in this game because Chicago got some. I'm not going to sit here and bitch about calls in the preseason because it's the preseason. But, like, they got a extra second out of nowhere, and they got to kick a field goal. And you're like, all right, well, whatever. Mike McDaniel, speaking of Mike Cunha, said that it was going to be one more Zach Wilson drive, and then we were going to get ourselves some Quinn Ewers. That did turn out to be the case. Dolphins didn't really do anything in that last drive. We did get our first punt of the game. The Dolphins have a punter battle going on right now between Jake Bailey and Ryan Stonehouse, which objectively, just by name, Stonehouse is a better name for a punter. It's just a cool name, and I like his number better as a punter, but we'll see where this goes, if the incumbent keeps it or if old Stonehouse, who is Ackerman's guy from Tennessee, if that's going to be somebody who takes the gig. We'll see. The Dolphins, they were able to get a drive, a huge stop in the end zone, and they what seemed like had an interception by Jack Jones got overturned for pass interference. Then they had defensive holding by Channing Tindall, who did not have the greatest day in the world. He did make up for it with some plays late, but he did not. It did not start off great for Channing Tindall, who you would think is got to be playing for a roster spot. But, Derek McClendon, I would say this was probably his showing out drive for the Dolphins. He also impressed. He's been getting a lot of buzz around this thing. But we get into this point where it's a big time back and forth with the Dolphins, a lot of things going back and forth. And then the big next swing play, I would say, because, the Dolphins defense was holding strong. Weaver's cooking. He's bringing in corners for blitzes and things like that. He was looking great. Then we have what was really the swing game to make this a game, because it did feel very much like the Dolphins were in control. Quinn Ewers makes his Dolphins debut. It was kind of an uneventful first drive. And then the second one, he fumbles it. And it's nearly recovered and goes into the end zone. You're just like, ooh, all right, that wasn't great. Bears would answer and make the Dolphins pay. They'd score a touchdown right away. I really can't get on the defense for that. Quinn Ewers put them in a really, really, really rough spot. The good news of this is that after this, they really leaned on for Quinn Ewers. They took the pressure off him, and they really started leaning into Ollie Gordon II, who we had not really seen to this point. And then they really started going to him, and he looked very impressive. I mean, this dude is a absolute behemoth when he gets the football for the Miami Dolphins, and that was really, really exciting. Like, you just saw, like, he was setting the Dolphins up. He was, putting them in just positive yards. None of this side-to-side nonsense, just right up the gut. And I think that was some exciting stuff from Ollie Gordon, where, like, his first run, boom, shakes contact, goes for 20-plus yards, moving forward, looking absolutely fantastic. Then you have the unfortunate play where Ewers finds Madison on a 3rd and 6 over the middle. Madison ends up getting hurt. Hopefully he's going to be okay. But the Dolphins then would just give it to Ollie Gordon. Boom, boom, and then he'd leap into the end zone. Some are saying he's Dolphins' Leroy Horde. I'm not saying that, but people are wondering, is he Dolphins Leroy Horde? So just keep an eye on that, dude. The next drive, another I don't really know what to do with this. Again, it's preseason, so I'm not going to linger on this too much. But I thought another horse bleep call that went for the Chicago Bears. This was it Eugene Asante, I think he's 51 on the Dolphins. 51? Yeah. So this dude gets a great stop on third down, throws his shoulder into Buddy, and they call unnecessary roughness. And I have a real problem with this in football, okay? First off, a lot of that stuff's meant to protect star quarterbacks. These are guys fighting for roster spots. This guy puts his shoulder in as a guy is falling down on a catch. There's legitimately nothing he can do if you're asking him to play football and stop the ball. And he leans in with his shoulder. The guy's kind of falling and ducking in with his head. So he's initiating the head contact. And they call unnecessary roughness on Asante. And I'm like, that's just bullcrap. What is he supposed? Is he supposed to hurdle him? Is that what he's supposed? Is he supposed to spin move around him? I had a guy on Twitter suggest, is he supposed to give him a Snuggie, a blankie, and a pillow to take a nap? What in the hell is a linebacker supposed to do in that spot when he's trying to keep his team in the game? And so it sets the Bears up. Case Keenum throws a touchdown pass, a really nice touchdown pass, but I was like, that's Fugazi. So the Bears take their first lead, 24-21, and I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell did I just watch happen to the Miami Dolphins? I just feel like they just got completely hosed in this game. Neither here nor there. It's a preseason game, but I just was like, what are we talking about here? So Dolphins are down 24-21. They'd come back. They get a 56-yard field goal from Jason Sanders. You had a nice play from Quinn Ewers to A.J. Henning for a 20-yard gain, a little bit more from Ollie Gordon, but then things get busted up there. So it's 24-24 piece. And then neither of these teams wanted to win the game. You'd have Isaiah Johnson with a nice coverage. Dolphins would get the ball up on downs. And then the Dolphins themselves were rolling good. You had a nice play, Quinn Ewers to Ollie Gordon for about 19 yards. Then the Dolphins got a false start. That completely eroded a thing. Bears come after Quinn Ewers. He fumbles it again and loses the football. It's a little negligible because, the Dolphins would have turned it over on downs anyway. Bears, they can't do anything with it. Their fourth-string quarterback can't make any passes. And then the Dolphins get a pass to Chris Myrick, and he throws it to Ollie Gordon. For a second, you thought Ollie Gordon was going to take this thing to the house, but he ends up chucking it, ends in a tie, 24-24. So there you go. Overall, I think that, the good of this game, the best part of it, probably the return game, to be honest with you. I thought that was really great. But I thought that your rookies really showed out. Savai and I had great moments. Kenneth Grant looks like a man amongst boys. Zeke Biggers looked really, really good. Was it Marshall? He had a good time. Ollie Gordon, though, I thought really was like, because I feel like it's been a pretty quiet camp for him. Hasn't got, and a game like this where you're actually hitting, it feels like the physicality kind of showed out. Madison looked really good. You're hopeful that he's going to be healthy. Quinn Ewers, is there going to be a Quinn Ewers Cinderella story? I wasn't too impressed thus far, but that's okay. It's his first game. I don't need Skylar Thompson numbers. We've seen Skylar Thompson numbers. He just threw up more Skylar Thompson numbers, and that's why he's Skylar Thompson. So I'm okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Quinn Ewers has to beat out Zach Wilson. He's a rookie. Zach Wilson, I can look. There's going to be things that Mike McDaniel has to work out of him if they get into a pinch where Tua has to play. Are the Dolphins going to get a miracle run by Zach Wilson? Man, I don't know. There seems like there's still a lot of flaws there. But I think the good thing is, the Dolphins really did try to lean into this run game. And while it didn't go well in the first drive of the game, you can see some potential as the game went on, and especially from the back. So I think that's an exciting thing Front seven shows some great stuff. I think, Anthony Weaver, bob and weave defense is in its bag. I think that looked great. And so overall, yeah, there was a lot to be happy with. There were some dumb penalties at times as well. And I thought that the Dolphins got hosed in some cases too, but it's preseason, so whatevs, dude. But the young guys, I think a lot of young guys really showed themselves well. Cam Smith didn't play, so what are you supposed to do there? Channing Tindall, up and down. Like, again, I think my point was I wouldn't say that anybody really had a huge surprise performance, probably other than Ollie Gordon, but everybody had said, like, hey, dude, the dude is physical. When he won the Doak Walker Award and after contact back, man, you saw that. He's an exciting player that the Dolphins get to add to the fold. So you're just hopeful that you get good news on Madison, and that because he looked very, very impressive as well. I think he felt like he kind of sparked the change of the game for the Dolphins and the tone of the game and the way he ran, and he's a veteran, so maybe he can that's contagious to those young guys out there. But all in all, first one's in the books, and we don't have to do this nonsense about talking about that joint practice. I don't think anymore because no fights. Everybody's is there gonna be a fight? No fights. No fisticuffs. No chicanery. Just good old fashioned mediocre preseason football.